Hi, everyone. Welcome to ZEN and TECH, our weekly podcast focused on centering your inner geek and using technology to help deal with the stresses of your connected life. I'm Rene, and your host for the show is Georgia. Before we begin, I just want to remind you that while Georgia is a therapist, she's not your therapist. Everything said or implied in this episode is for informational and entertainment purposes only and shouldn't be taken in any way as a replacement for personal, professional care. Georgia, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. How are you doing, Rene?
I am doing very well, thank you very much. So what do we did we did fear and then we did pain. So what are we doing this week? Fear of pain?
No, no, we are not doing fear of pain. Actually, this week I thought that we would do, since we've been dealing a lot with health conscious and things like that of that nature. Some people have asked about weight loss, and it's getting to be the summer. People are wanting to put on their swimsuits, taking off their shirt, and it's a difficult thing. A lot of people have issues with trying to lose weight. How do you lose weight? Well, tricks and tips in order to do it. And so I thought that we would discuss it.
Now, is this generalized weight loss or is this fat loss specific?
It would be actually to tone and to eat healthier more than anything else. I think that that's the most important thing. I have a special shtick, to be honest, that I might as well say it because you'll ask me and I'll just say it anyways. But I think that you should love yourself no matter what way, shape, or form you're already in. I think that that's truly caring about yourself, and that's the only key to being self-actualized.
Oh, so then let me ask you, if you do love yourself no matter what, then why would you be interested in losing fat and gaining muscle tone?
It's healthier.
Okay.
You're able to do more. And it's also, you want to have some fat. If you have no fat on your body, people that bodybuild, you are actually, a lot of the hormones are in the fat tissue. So you need to have some. Also, cholesterol is one of the compounds that are in between your skin cells, which keep them flexible, and it will keep your skin looking supple and healthy. So we do need some cholesterol as well. So I believe in balance. I believe in living a healthy lifestyle and loving yourself as you are. I don't think that you have to end up fighting to be this mirror image of what is photoshopped and sprung around us all over and in the media. But that doesn't mean that you might not want to live a healthier life.
Yeah, I mean,
and that I think is worth it.
Not even a little bit facetiously, go and Google some of the paparazzi pics of the supermodels that you admire in magazines, and the harsh reality is often very different.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
Now, going back to what you just said, when you say like in balance, you're not talking about people who actually have an eating disorder this time, are you?
No. No, though that's a serious issue. And
Okay.
if you have, like, there's certain eating disorders I deal with, there's certain eating disorders that are very, very serious. So if you are anorexic or bulimic, you should make sure that you get treated for that, because that's something that will diminish. It's just very, very damaging to your health and to your lifestyle and to those that are around you as well.
And what about not eating disorder specific, but for example, if you are a stress eater or if you eat out of some sort of loneliness or some sort of like addiction, maybe?
That's something that I think that we should discuss.
Okay.
Because this also happens for parenting, and usually people that have this issue, it came from their parents, it came from their history. There are a few things. I believe that food should be for one thing, for sustenance. You should eat because you are hungry. Now, it seems logical that you should eat when you're hungry and not eat if you are not hungry, but our culture kind of forces us to eat 3 meals a day. Who made this choice? A lot of people have a large supper, a small meal, and breakfast. I like to eat when I'm hungry, as large or small as I want to eat, and snack during the day as it so comes. And I think that that's a natural way of eating. I want to stop eating when I am no longer hungry. And what we end up coming into an issue with is when people eat out of guilt, out of control, and out of emotional needs. So sadness, or angry eaters, or lonely eaters. And when you start to put that eating becomes that, like eating was love. If eating was love for you, you're going to have a problem. If they force fed you and then eating became a control and a power struggle, so this happens with parenting, you're going to have a problem. And if eating was something that happened, was your only way of soothing yourself, it's also going to become an issue.
So let's break this down a little bit. You just said at the beginning of that there's a sort of a cultural tradition, and we do it for no reason but tradition's sake. You wake up, you have breakfast, you have lunch. At least in a lot of westernized countries, you have breakfast, lunch, and supper. Certain other countries might have siesta rituals or something else, but a lot of this is ritualistic. It was determined hundreds of not thousands of years ago by people who are well past dead now. And we should examine the logic of still doing that today.
Right. If a lot of cultures went through poverty and or a war, and so food could not be stored, could not be kept. And when they had fresh food, they had to force their children to eat it because they didn't know when the next meal would come. So you can understand where the culture came to there. Now we live in a culture and in a society where food is more than plentiful.
Now, I mean,
and so it ends up becoming something that we overdo.
Is that, I mean, that's sort of like that joke line from Lord of the Rings. We have breakfast, second breakfast, elevensies, lunch, dinner, supper.
Which is fine as long as they are small and people are hungry.
Now, is it true, this is sort of a myth that I want to see if it's accurate or not, that one way of eating is good for everybody? Like, for example, everyone should eat 6 small meals, or everyone should only eat 1 meal a day, or everyone should eat 3 meals. Is there one way that's just biologically superior for every human being on this planet?
I will quote you through a study that I thought was fascinating. When people were doing eating studies, they ended up taking very young children. I believe they were 1.5 or 2. And they put a plentiful amount of different variety of foods in front of them. And they allowed the children to eat whatever they so wished. They were not forced. They were all within range, and they could choose whatever they wanted to, and as much or as little of what they wanted to. Do you know what they found out from the studies, Rene?
That the kids ate only candy, but ate a lot of it.
Right. That's not actually true. Not only did the children end up eating a well-rounded diet, they also ended up choosing foods that would soothe ailments that they had.
Nature versus nurture.
Exactly. Now, there are some things we programmed to eat foods that because we lived in time when food was not plentiful, there before agriculture, that we do choose to eat fast, sugary foods and foods that are high in fat. We are prone to that because they were good for survival mechanism. Again, now we're thrown into a society where we have caveman minds with the ability to eat all day, and that causes a huge disjoint among that.
We're starving people in a land of plenty.
Exactly. And so that will cause anyone to eat more than you actually need. And unfortunately, because by the time the food goes down, it takes us 20 minutes before the way that we stop being hungry, if we're eating for hunger, not because of sadness or loneliness or control or anger or because we're bored, then it takes us still 20 minutes before those sugars are digested. And now we are like, oh, I feel full.
So here's my second question. Is some people also say that there's different kinds of calories. So for example, if I eat 1,000 calories of McDonald's, it's different than eating 1,000 calories of celery. And granted, no one's going to really sit there and eat 1,000 calories of celery because it's just not pleasant. And a Big Mac is so pleasant. But
right.
Is a calorie, or is there nutritional differences? Is there health differences, vitamins, whatever that actually makes a differentiation?
Okay, well let's take away all the vitamins. You can, if you eat 1,000 calories worth of carrots, that's 1,000 calories, and any extra calorie, no matter what form it is in, it's a calorie. And after you use it, if it's over the excess of what you need, it's going to be stored for, in there. So it becomes fat no matter what. It doesn't matter what form it's in. So you can gain weight on, it's actually hard to gain weight on celery because it takes a lot of nutrients to digest that much fiber. There's not much in a celery.
For example.
But let's choose anything else.
Carrots.
So potato, carrots, which have a lot of sugar in them. Yes.
Lima beans, Brussels sprouts.
Everything.
Yeah.
But what I would like to say is that when I deal a lot with parents, and I think that this is something that's really important because food habits are taught to us through our parents. And I actually know someone, I won't embarrass them, but that they would eat everything on their plate, whether they had just a little bit on their plate or they had a ton on their plate. They ate all of it because that's what they were taught. Now, of course, their parents went through a war, so it's understandable why this went through. But now they are eating a ton of food, and it was so hard for them to stop this that I actually had to either poke the food so my finger went in it. I know I did that. Seems so harsh. Or take the food away, but they would be still like they're full. They're over full.
But that's culture, right? Like you get a gold star for cleaning your plate. There are starving children in this other part of the world.
I love that comment. I love that comment that there's starving children in there. So I should treat my body like a garbage can and eat more than my body needs. How does that help starving children? Me treating my body
You
like
becoming Jabba the Hutt does not feed another starving kid.
Well, even if I don't become Jabba the Hutt, me disrespecting my body and not listening to myself when I say I'm full, how does that help a starving child in Africa?
Well,
it's just such a ridiculous comment. It actually infuriates me to hear.
They're valuing the food more than your body.
It's disrespecting me. It's disrespecting yourself, which is such a horrible thing to do. And then later I'm going to have, if I do this to excess, I might end up having health problems because of this, which are really hard to deal with.
Can I point out that right now our wonderful chat room is busy talking about the virtues of Taco Bell versus Chick-fil-A? just to keep them on topic.
Fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with having fast food and enjoying things. Not at all. I love fast food as much as anyone else, but I'm going to stop eating and I will waste the rest of that hamburger. And actually I remember someone once saying to me, there's only one bite left. You have to eat it. I'm like, no, I don't. So here, I'm going to say what I say to parents. And if you can do nothing else, follow it. Please, please. Food eating should be relaxed and should be calm. If your children do not want to eat what is on their plate, that's fine. Don't force them to. It's not going to make them like it. And actually what it will cause is children are naturally not wanting to eat different varieties of foods. So just allow them to eat what they want. Put different foods on their plate. Naturally in time, they'll pick at it and they'll deal with it. And what it will teach them is to value their own, to listen to their own body. So they'll stop eating when they're not hungry. And they'll be able to eat in a relaxed method, the same reason of why people in France, they drink more wine and they have fattier foods, yet they have a lower amount of heart disease.
Oh, that is because we drink the wine and eat the white bread. C'est magnifique, le. Voyons donc, parle-toi.
But they eat relaxed. They eat, they enjoy it, they take their time, and they, can take as long as they want to eat. It's not some rushed, stressed, eat as much as you can, as quickly as you can, and finish everything on your plate.
So let me devil's advocate you this for a second, Georgia. Let's say you are trying to have some sort of dinner time with your family, like everybody eats at 6 p.m., and your child doesn't want to eat, but then at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're, Mommy, I'm hungry.
Love it. I love it. I get asked that all the time. This is what I do. You can choose to do whatever you want, but this is also what I say, is that they, Master said, starve the child in the term. No, don't do that. What you do is this. I leave the plate. I don't clean up their plate. If they haven't eaten their supper, it stays there. It gets cold. I don't heat it up. It stays there. If they don't want to eat it, that's fine. If they want to eat something else that's healthy and I don't mind, that's fine as well. I don't do you have to eat everything on your plate and then you get dessert. I'm going to tell you why I don't, and I'm sorry, this is kind of going around, but I have to mention it. What you're doing with that I hate, is that you're now forcing your child to eat, and then you're making them eat more sugary fat. They're already full, perhaps, and now you're making them eat a whole bunch of sugar afterwards as a reward for stuffing themselves in the first place.
And then you're putting them in bed so they can't possibly work it off.
If they did, which is fine, but they might not have wanted to. You're actually giving them this strange message, which is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just really, really wrong. So what I say is that you leave it there. I leave it there. It stays there. They can go back and pick at it if they wish. If they have another healthy choice, they can choose to do that as well. I let my kids go into the fridge, and I don't have food in the fridge that I wouldn't want them to eat. So they can go and grab whatever they would like for snacks throughout the day. At night, when they are actually probably not wanting to go to sleep and they want to eat something, they can have a small piece of bread. That's it. A piece of pita, a piece of bread. They can have that, and that's it.
Now, see,
And then
that's a tip
breakfast.
that I've discovered painfully. That is, if it's in my house, I'm going to eat it. So the best defense I have is just not buying it and putting it in the house. I mean, I don't need a bag of cookies or a keg of ice cream looking at me and laughing and saying, "You want me?" I would just rather have it out of the house and quiet.
Right. I get a lot of people also that come in and they say, "Listen, I had someone that I saw for a little bit, and she ate. She would binge eat, and she felt really guilty. And every night she'd eat, and then hate herself for it. And what I said was, just eat. If you're going to eat the food and you're not ready to stop, then enjoy the food. If you're going to do that, enjoy the food, because the hating on yourself is more damaging than the food. Just love yourself. Enjoy it. If that's what you're doing until you're ready to stop, when you're ready to stop, you'll stop. If you're not ready to stop, why hate on yourself? That's not going to inspire you to stop eating. It's going to make you feel worse about yourself and you're going to eat more. And that's not a worthwhile way of learning how to eat healthily.
So here's my other question. What about when you're dealing with certain cultures? So for example, what's the matter? You know, like I'm a food manja. Why you no eating? Why you put down your fork? Or what? Come on, eat a more. Or for example, if like you come over to your mom's house and she knows you're trying to get healthy, but because for her food is love, so she's got pies and ice cream and cake and candies, and to her, if you don't eat it, you're rejecting her and rejecting her love.
Right. Again, food should never be love, but say that this is someone that is not going to change their manner of behavior. You have to deal with that yourself. So I believe in having a little bit, and then if you really feel guilty, mash it up, make it look like it's on the plate, suddenly make it disappear. I love people that will stick it on other people's plates. It's like they are too guilty to leave it there, so they give it to someone else. Triple J in the chat room says buy smaller plates. It's a brilliant idea. I love that. I give that a lot. Is we like to fill up what is on the plate, and just say to yourself, I'll go and get half now, and I'll pick up half later. It's a great way of dealing with it. But the way that we think about food, we need to change that. We need to change the way that we look at food.
Master in the chat room is saying that my British accent there was racist, so I want to apologize.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I think that you should always think about how the food makes you feel. How do I feel after I eat this? If I'm going to feel horrible, why am I doing that? That's a hateful act then. I don't think that you should hate yourself in any way, shape, or form. If I'm not happy when I eat it, if I am happy when I eat it, great. If I don't feel good every time after I eat something, I should remember that.
So are people sometimes eating deliberately to make themselves feel bad?
Sometimes it is an act of self-hatred, which is exceptionally sad, and you need to take a look at that. I think that you need to accept yourself in, the good and the bad, and whatever shape you're in, whatever health range you're in, whatever you look like, it doesn't really matter. You need to love yourself. That doesn't mean that you don't want to eat healthy or be healthy for yourself. I just ended up getting a juicer. I watched a movie about juicing, not because I actually wanted to juice, but I decided to get it not because I thought that it would make me lose weight, but because I know that I don't eat enough vegetables, and it is really hard to eat more vegetables because of the amount of fiber and calories and
Can I ask
protein.
why a juicer and not just a blender?
Well, what I liked about the juicer in comparison to the blender is that you can put more of the micronutrients into it because it takes out the fiber. You can choose to the juicer that I got was a masticating juicer, not one of those ones that flip all the pulp out. So it leaves the micronutrients more intact, easy for us to digest because we're not dealing with the fiber, which is bad. We need fiber in our diet, but you can put a lot of nutrients in that, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I actually like the taste. I crave the taste of the juice, which is wonderful. So that's the way that I've dealt with it, in not being able to make even close to the amount of fiber and leafy greens that you can deal with.
I have.
And there is still fiber that comes out through a masticating juicer, not as much as you would. You can choose to put the fiber back in if you so want.
There's a comment in the chat room, then I have a question for you. So JJ Wick says that when someone offers you food, you should use your advice from a previous show and just say, "I don't do that."
Oh, I love that. Someone actually told me, one of my people actually told me that they said that I don't do that to something that you can't even say that to, and someone completely accepted it. So I love that.
I don't stop at red lights. I don't do that.
Right. Exactly. I just don't do that. I think the cops will still give you the ticket, though they might look at you strangely.
Well, obviously you
And
don't do it. You didn't do it.
right. And Triple J also says that juicers are like helicopters. You use it for 20 minutes and it takes 40 minutes of maintenance to clean and put it back together. This does not. It actually takes about 2 to 3 minutes to clean. They're very easy and it's easy to put together. So I liked it. I think it was the Omega 300 that I picked up.
Now, so here's my other question. You mentioned about getting the amount of servings of vegetables. Is that, we've been tormented since childhood with those Saturday specials about the food pyramid and suggested servings. Is that a legitimate guide? Some people challenge that and saying that it's fueled by industries who want us to buy certain products and not necessarily health professionals. Do you have a take on whether we should be following that or whether we should be eating more according to our body's desires?
Our bodies are, if we're really listening to our bodies, they're pretty straightforward on what we need. Though they've done a lot of studies that have dealt with what level of calories that we need that are healthy for us. What it is they found is that if we eat 10% less nutrients than is supposed to be in our diets, we live longer. 10%.
But we don't enjoy that life, Georgia.
It might not be. And also that we need many more nutrients coming from vegetable plant matter than we do. We eat a lot more meat. Usually it's 50% of our plate that's meat, and then there's kind of like a starch, and then leafy greens. It should probably be about 10 to 15% is the meat, and then the rest is leafy greens. And then you will actually get filled up faster. What you need to watch out on is the salad dressing that you add to that, because that does change the fat ratio. But at least you're getting all the leafy greens that you need, and you'll probably feel better and feel healthier.
And they don't make it easy.
The juicer that I have is the Omega 8006.
Nice.
800.
I mean, they really don't make it easy because you'll go to like a fast food place and you'll see a salad or a yogurt dessert and you'll buy it thinking that it sounds healthier and it actually has way more calories than what else you'd order there.
Yes, I've heard that one of the salads at McDonald's has as many calories as a Big Mac, which seems insane, but that's what I have heard. I didn't actually do any studies on that, so I cannot say the difference between that.
So what about now, we're getting a little bit of tech into the Zen and Tech. We did a health and fitness month, and I'll put it in the show notes. And Ali Kazmuha on iMore and a bunch of other talented reviewers on the other sites went through basically health apps for every platform. And a lot of those, some of them were calorie counting apps, some were food nutritional guideline apps. Is that kind of stuff in general beneficial if you know the amount of calories you're consuming or you keep lists of the foods that you're eating?
It can work out for you. I think that it's important to actually look and know how many calories are in different foods. If you are planning to lose weight for health or because you want your, way of life to be better, it's not going to be something that's going to dominate your existence. Anything, even being healthy, doing anything to the extreme is probably because you have an issue behind that. So there's some people that are fitness to the extreme, and there's a type of anorexia that's a fitness anorexia, so you have to watch out for that. But I was very interested in how many calories are in 2 teaspoons of peanut butter or in margarine in comparison to that. At least then you can make, again, educated choices. It's all about, you can choose to still have 2 Nanaimo bars, which I did today and thoroughly enjoyed them. Oh my God, they were homemade. Well worth it. I felt good. It was all good.
Our chat room is hating you right now.
I know. Oh, they're so good. But I knew I was going to eat it. It didn't bother me, and I enjoyed them. I thoroughly enjoyed them. And I drink pop, and I do juicing, and I try to live a happy, balanced life. But for other people that food became something else, it becomes much more difficult.
So here's another question. You also did a review of the, what's it called? The Why Things scale, one of those two?
Yes.
And you quite like that, though.
I did enjoy it because it gave me a lot of information. So I had my body mass index as well as how much I weighed. and what my ratio was. And it knew who I was and could track it online, though I've been having a few problems with it hooking up to the Wi-Fi. But I liked it a lot. I also liked the eye health heart rate monitor. I think that that's a fabulous device to use.
So would you recommend those kinds of gadgets for people who are gadget inclined? Like I'm guessing a large amount of our audience is. Are those good investments, or is that just something that you can keep track of your own?
I think that those are good investments. I'm actually really excited about the juicer that I bought. I have to say, I love it. I'm really excited. I'm excited to have the juice. I love the flavor of the juice. Like they have some spice. You can add ginger to it, and you can juice all kinds of things that you wouldn't before. You can give it to your kids and make them tasty. You can make smoothies. You can make ice cream with them. You can add yogurt to it. Flax seeds. Mine will do flax seeds, and many other juicers will not do. So I think that that's a really cool investment, and I think that it has made my life a little bit more healthy, and it makes me have more energy throughout the day.
Now, I talked about this on previous episodes. If you haven't already, our first 4 episodes are like the pillars, the foundation of Zen and Tech, because it's got all your breathing, your nutrition, your sleep, and your exercise. And I suppose like every morning now, I wake up early, I go for a half an hour walk, and then I come back and I make a smoothie in a blender. I don't have one of these fancy dancy masticating drinking machines that all the kids have these days.
Oh, you're
The
so
cool
gonna
kids
get
have.
one. I'm gonna make you one. You're gonna get one.
But I use an old fashioned super powered blender. But I take frozen fruits, I add juice to it, I add some protein to it, and for me that's one of the best breakfasts. So I mean, I think a lot of it is just rehabituating yourself to a more sane lifestyle.
Yes, definitely. Brad from the chat room asked about flaxseed oil and if it causes prostate cancer and comments on that. I try to wait until there's many different studies that go through. You have to take a look at the way that the data was actually brought in. Did they watch everything that they ate? Was this one of those information that they take a look and you write what you ate, and did you do that right when you ate it? Did someone else write it down for you? Were you in an environment, or did you send it in once a month? I didn't remember what I ate yesterday, so if you asked me to fill in the form, I would make up stuff, but I would have no clue. And then how long have you waited before I've gotten
It's
any
like
type
everybody asks PBS when you have them fill out a journal, but no one really watches it when you actually read it off their TV set.
No, and then if they know that you're looking at health, I'm going to take away those 2 Nanaimo bars that I ate today. They'll suddenly disappear. How could that be? So I'm not really sure about that. You always should wait until there's been studies that have been replicated and in different environments and which universities are doing it. Or is this the people that are funding a cancer drug or can't funding? You have to take a look at where the funding.
Can I make a ridiculous statement?
Done.
I have 2 ridiculous statements to make.
Please.
The first one is that everything you eat is going to kill you. We are not immortal. Everything you eat will eventually kill you. You just want to eat the things that will kill you the slowest. And I want to add before you yell at me. I mean that in terms of naturalness, cyanide is 100% natural, yet it is one of the things that you can eat that will kill you the fastest. So I try to stay away from all the hype. Like Georgia said, some days I'll say coffee's killing you. The next day it's going to keep you alive forever. If you wait long enough, any study you could ever possibly imagine or want to see will come floating across the internet. So I try just to make the best choices that I can, knowing that I'm not perfect, knowing that I'm human and I make errors and mistakes. I try to make good choices, and I try to live in general a healthy life.
Right. There's so many things that are out there. I think that it's not, you should be educated about what that so may be. It's a lot of people that will not drink pasteurized milk because they want to drink unpasteurized milk, and then they end up dying from.
And some people drink no milk because only baby cows drink. I mean, like there's everything out there.
There's all kinds of different things out there. You should listen to your body. Certain bodies do not process things as well as something else. But I try not to go too far onto the sway of different things. But though, if I do also listen to the studies that come out, and then I think, how long has this been out? Where did that come from? And does it work with my lifestyle? Certain things will not, and so I will not decide to absorb them as easily and take them on and try them out to see how they work.
Brad in our chat room is saying everything in moderation. Don't eat one thing nonstop. And I was walking through the mall the other day, and I think I passed a cabbage diet stall and then a cookie diet stall. And I think the further things tend towards the absurd, the faster you should run away from them.
Right. And again, I think to myself, it would be really sad if my last meal was a meal of Brussels sprouts. I'd be so sad.
Unless they were
You
cooked in a
want to,
lot of cream and butter.
yeah, I actually do like Brussels sprouts, but you want to enjoy life as well. So as long as you can do that at the same time, not hate upon yourself for it, and try to be healthy and be good to yourself.
And I think it's also worth pointing out that some people do have food allergies. I mean, if you are having problems related to the food that you eat, it is worthwhile getting checked. I mean, and there's extreme examples where foods can kill you, but there can be much lower level responses where your body just. I mean, there's all sorts. I don't want to get it. I don't think we have time to
Yeah,
get
for
into all of
sure.
them. But if
No, there's not, and we're getting a little late. I wanted to say something else about I so I'm slightly iron deficient. I'm anemic, and it's something that I've dealt with all through life. And people talk about how there's a it's hard without eating meat. There's a different type of iron. There's two different types of iron. The iron from, say, leafy greens, so they have a lot of iron in them. They're not as well digested by our bodies. They're non-hema iron. So you also have to take a look at that. Though the iron is in something, depending on what you eat, such as milk or orange juice, the milk will stop the absorption of iron if you drink milk after you have anything that has iron in it. Plus, then, if you get iron from plant matter, it does not, it's I think 1/3 of what you are eating is actually going to be absorbed by your body. And then the last part is that if you have something like orange juice with it, your body will absorb more of it. So there's also certain interactions that it can get complex. You can end up spending a lot of time trying to wrap your mind around it. I think that you should become educated, but again,
education in moderation.
educate, but don't have it. People were saying, no more soy because soy causes cancer. And then they're saying, but soy we need for this. If you enjoy it, but don't go wild for anything.
Yes, absolutely. We could talk about this for a lot longer, so maybe it's worth doing another show on it in the future.
Perhaps so.
Is there any homework you'd like to give out?
I would love, and this is something that I do all the time, is to track how the food makes you feel afterwards. And
Sorry, can you just explain what that means? Sorry.
uh, after you eat, do you feel happier and better? Because food does also change mood.
So we
There's
should write
certain
it down?
foods that will make you feel icky, horrible. No, you can make a mental note of it. You can say, every time I eat this chocolate cake, I feel horrible. And I'll actually do it before I eat it. I'll look at the food and I'll say, how am I going to feel after I eat this? And if I'm good, I'll be like, oh, if I think I'll be good up to a certain point, I'll only eat that much. And don't feel guilty about it. Really don't feel guilty about it. That is something that is brought down, an antiquated view brought down to our parents, which no longer fits in our society, and it will cause you to get a seriously bad habit and then pass it on to your children. You don't want to have that. And then the second bit of homework, wait for it. I think I forgot.
You took yourself off track. It's a record. Write
Try.
down how you feel after food.
Yeah. Thank you. The second part of the homework is to stop eating when you are satiated, not full, because then 20 minutes later you're going to be over full. But when you're feeling satiated, wait. And actually, if you can, take half of what you think you're going to eat and put it on your plate.
Yeah, one of the
And
people in
then
the
say,
chat room earlier on said that restaurants give you way too much food these days.
I often will order one meal and we'll share it.
Or take half home.
Or take it home and eat it later. I'm not great with eating leftovers. I know it's a horrible thing, but
People are starving in leftover land.
I don't do that. I just don't do that.
So just to reframe, you want to take note of how you feel after you eat, and you want to stop when you feel satiated.
Yes. And see if you can. Are you one of those people that has to eat everything on your plate, and do you feel guilty? And if you do, eesh.
We'll deal with it next time.
Yeah.
Georgia, where can we find out even more about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Georgia TIPB, and you can ask me questions, send me things. People do all the time. I do the therapy thing because I love it. So you may ask any questions which you would so like. And you can also find me on the website www.zenandtech.tv.
And you can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can find both of us at ZEN and TECH. You can email us at podcast@ZEN and TECH or leave a comment on the show when it goes live. We are here each and every second week. And for all of our shows, you can find them at mobilenations.com/shows. If you haven't already, please go to iTunes. Please leave a rating. And we will see you next time. And thank you, chat room. Why don't laugh
Thank
at our
you.
chat room?
I have to say, no, it's Triple J's comment. Go to the new age restaurants in Manhattan. Small portions and high prices leaves
Nice.
you broke and skinny.
Nice. You can never be too thin or too poor.
Like that. I like that.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.